say before I launch into this, no way is this a definitive account of their lives. Since the talk's been announced, I've been made aware of many other people who knew the Calmann family. They'll have their memories and anecdotes, and maybe you can share those at the end. I also need to say that my knowledge of German is 0, so my pronunciation of some of the names will be totally cringeworthy. If you could just sort of gloss over that. Equally, my knowledge of World War II is that of an ostrich. But to understand the Calmann family, I had to make myself read some deeply upsetting accounts. But I know that many of you will have a much greater knowledge than I have. The talk has lots of photos. Some were named, some only dated, and many with neither. I've had to guess at some of the names, and my guessing is that some of them have been attributed incorrectly. But if you know that, can you actually tell me at the time so I can put it right?
Yeah, just press the space bar and then you can interrupt.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be interrupted. There's quite a lot for you to take in, and I suggest that you sit back and just approach it with the aim of trying to get a flavour of the family and their lives. So let's make a start on looking at this remarkable family. They lived amongst us, not known by many of us. Many of these photos will not have been seen in public before. So make yourself comfortable, have a glass of wine, enjoy the photos, and the story will unfold. So first of all, huge thanks to Louise Alexander for the photos, the current photos of Perridge House. Phoebe, who is with us tonight, who used to live in Westholme and knew Goethe. Chris King for buying the photos and giving me the contacts. And Steve for copying the photos and being endlessly patient with me.
Yes.
Don't say that very often. So for those of you who don't know where Perridge is, most of us do, but this is the sort of the heart of Pilton. This is the old shop, and this is the road out towards Northwootton. There's like a little toll house, a little gatehouse here. You might know that. And that's where you buy the most beautiful beef. And this is the photo Louise Alexander sent me. It's a Perridge. I don't know which view that is. It's not a house I've been to. Somebody will know that very well. Do chip in if you know it. Press the space bar and put me right. Okay. It's got the most wonderful gardens, and they'll come again. Note that balcony. That's going to be key to one of the photos that come later. This is a photo taken by Louise Alexander just a few weeks ago. So this is where it all started. It started with this very bland entry in eBay. Chris King is the mistress of eBay buying, anything to do with Pilton. And she knows I am a total sucker for anything like this. And it said Pilton. She phoned me up. Do I want to go for it? Yes, of course we do. And she got it. And this big package of mainly photograph albums appeared a few days later. In it was this charming little book, Marianne Calmann's photos. We'll delve into that a bit later. Very few documents, a few that the seller had found on the internet. But there was this one document, which is Goethe's driving license. What a beautiful lady. We'll come to her in more detail later. That's her, age 21. And this is the Calmann family at Perridge. And this is from John Calmann's book. And this is Marianne, Iris, Hans, Goethe, John, and this is Suzanne, but known as Susan. And these are the Perridge grounds. And there's Hans, very handsome man. And this is Hans's background. Leave you to read that. And this is the family tree. So here we've got Hans. There is a reason why these are in different colours. I'll come back to that later. So here's our Hans, who lived in Perridge. Here's his father. And here's his father, one of 5 children. And obviously there were 2 brothers, Arthur and Georg, I think it said.
Georg.
Georg, thank you. Thank you, Georg.
Georg.
Georg. And I've debated who this child is. And what I did was I researched the photographer to find out when he was functioning. Sorry?
I just love the rabbit.
Oh, Steve loves the rabbit, partly because it's a proper rabbit skin and it's stuffed and on wheels. Doesn't sort of do it for me, but I'm sure it was in vogue at time. The photographer was actually an artist. And when he needed more money, he did photography. So I think it is Hans's father, but I might be wrong, unless anybody can correct me. That one isn't written on the back. I also researched the clothing to see whether that could give me a clue. I still think it might be Aaron. And this is Jenny, Hannah, and that's Carl or Aaron. There were 5 children, if you remember, and this is 3 of them. And we come back to Jenny and Hannah later. Lovely, lovely photo of that period. So this is his family tree again, just so for those of you who don't know, so that you can sort of embed that in your mind. Here's our man and 2 brothers. So the first thing that struck me was what happened to Arthur. He was 1, that's very young to die. And because I'm that sort of person, I went nosing around. And this is what I found. They went off to Tenerife, mother and father and the 3 boys. They arrived in Tenerife, and then I found Arthur as listed as died at sea or other selected burial location. And then I found that he was actually buried in Tenerife. I have no idea why they went away, whether it was a holiday or no idea. Does anybody know? Please press the space bar and put me out of my misery. No, no one knows. And then I found a series of these photos. This baby, there's maybe 5 or 6 of this boy with the baby. And I was trying, I just felt it must be Arthur. And I had to decide which of the 2 of the 3 boys this was. And I had to decide whether this boy looked 4.5 or 2.5. And I decided that he looked 2.5, which is, yeah, very poignant. One of the many photos that has nothing written on the back. And then this other fabulous photo, which is Georg, is that right?
Georg, yeah.
Georg. And
Georg.
Hans. Again, a lovely classical photo of the time, all taken in Hamburg. And this is Hans again. He was, even when he was a stockbroker, he was busy buying and collecting all sorts of artifacts, apparently from, areas around Hamburg. And he married, I think she said, Kite.
It's
Is that
pronounced
right?
Ketter. Ketter.
Ketter.
Should have
Thank
an
you,
umlaut
Ketter.
on the A. So Ketter.
Yes, and I can't work out how to do those on a computer. Can you tell me that again? Ketter.
Ketter, yes.
Ketter.
Like
Yeah.
Katie, yes.
Like Katie, okay. And here she is. Has anyone seen that photo before? No? Right. And they have these 3 daughters. I could find the date of birth for Marianne, and I could find the month for Suzanne, but I couldn't for Iris for some reason. No idea why. There was a document in German, and I have no German, and French was no help whatsoever. I know it was 1927. I could work that bit out. And here is that photo. And that's where the blow up of his first wife is taken from. This is Marianne, and this is someone called Tita, who comes again and again in the photos. And I don't know quite how she's linked to the family. Does anyone know? No, she's in a lot of the photos when they're children. I went back through, where cousins and second cousins might fit in, and I couldn't work her out. And this is Hans with the 3 girls. There's quite a lot of this little girl with the scooter, maybe 8 or 10 photos of her. And I think that must be Suzanne. She's the smallest one. And then she died, age 37. I didn't order her death certificate to find out what she died from. Does anyone know how she died? No. Anyway, there were these 3 young girls, which was quite a handful. And then, of course, along comes Goethe. I hope I've said that correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, I should go back and say, so I'm just going to go back because, how do you say it? Cather. I'm useless at this. Her father was a wealthy grain merchant, and she had 2 sisters, Lucy, who we'll come to later, and Gerda. I should have told you that bit because that's actually important for later. Right, moving on. So what Phoebe said was that Goethe's father was a lawyer, and that Goethe recounted to Phoebe that she had been staying in India, and I think